Ladies and gentlemen, this is TVP World. You're watching another edition of Military Mind, bringing you news from the front lines. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee. Overnight, following one of the most massive attacks in recent days, Russian forces once again struck Ukraine's civilian infrastructure. Russia launched more than 130 drones across the country. In the Dnipro region, 3 civilians were injured in a Russian strike. The attack hit residential buildings and a local farm. In Kherson, local authorities reported 2 people wounded following the morning bombing of the city. In response, Ukrainian drones targeted an oil refinery in the Ryazan region. The strike triggered a fire, which Russian authorities claim resulted from falling debris from downed drones. This marks at least the 8th attack on the Ryazan refinery since the beginning of 2025. A previous one occurred on the night of November 15th. Now, the Ryazan refinery is among the 5 largest oil processing plants in Russia. Separately, the head of Russia's Kursk region reported that due to Ukrainian strikes on critical infrastructure overnight, 16,000 people were left without electricity. Turning now to the front line, Ukrainian forces are conducting counterattacks north of Kupiansk and in the city itself. According to analysts, Russian advances threaten to cut off the logistical routes used by the Ukrainian grouping positions on the left bank of the Oskil River. Despite Ukrainian counterattacks, Russian forces continue to expand their control zone in Kupiansk. In Pokrovsk, Russian forces are reportedly disguising themselves as civilians, according to Ukrainian military personnel. Under international law, combatants intentionally posing as civilians to deceive the enemy are committing war crimes. Similarly, wearing Ukrainian military or security services uniforms could also violate the laws and customs of war. It's more akin to sabotage and reconnaissance, according to Ukrainian military sources. Russian forces do not follow any standard procedures, but their movements still complicate Ukrainian logistic routes. The biggest challenge is that they disguise themselves as civilians. New footage from a Ukrainian drone shows multiple strikes on energy facility used by Russian occupation forces in the occupied Donetsk region. 2 key thermal power plants, Zuivska and Starobesheve, were hit. The video shows precision strikes and explosions at industrial sites, capturing the drones as they approach their targets, followed by a series of blasts across the power plant infrastructure. Visible in the footage are destroyed buildings, smoke trails, and damage to facilities used by Russian forces for military logistics, including supplying power to Russian bases and supporting the administration of occupied territories. The strikes specifically targeted technological sections containing critical equipment such as transformers, distribution substations, and auxiliary production units. In the Dnipro region, Ukrainian soldiers from a mobile fire group shot down a Russian Shahed kamikaze UAV that was attempting to attack positions near Pavlograd. Thanks to the rapid detection and coordinated actions of the crews, the enemy drone was neutralized while still in flight. Shahed kamikaze drones are used for precision strikes on rear and logistic facilities. Their timely destruction allows for the protection of critical infrastructure and prevents casualties among military personnel and civilians. Mobile air defense groups and anti-drone units continue to play a key role in protecting Ukrainian cities from modern airborne threats.
Прямо над нами.
New footage from the front lines shows Russian forces attempting to enter Pokrovsk using cars and motorcycles to transport assault troops and ammunition. But the route is no longer safe. Numerous damaged vehicles have been spotted along the highway, destroyed by Ukrainian FPV drones. The Pokrovsk axis has become a constant battleground for logistic corridors. Thanks to the swift work of UAV operators, Russian forces can no longer move troops and supplies freely. Every movement now carries a high risk of losses. Against the backdrop of continuous air attacks by the Russian Federation, Ukrainian forces countering drones are achieving results that seem unattainable just a year ago. The Sting interceptor, one of the most effective developments by Ukrainian engineers, continued to set records, knocking swarms of Shahed 136 drones out of the sky in real combat mode. The system was created specifically to combat massive attacks by cheap drones, which Russia launches in waves. And with that footage, we conclude this edition of Military Mind. But for more news, update, and commentary, please stay tuned to TVP World.